Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got the Fimi X8 SE out again today, and we're going to try some stuff. I've had some people ask me about some of the follow me functions. I'm trying to remember what they call it on the Fimi. Active Track is DJI. I don't know, they've got their own tracking name that they use. All these companies do. And then we're going to try out some of the intelligent flight modes, because they do operate a little bit differently with this guy than what you would commonly see on some other drones. So yeah, we're just going to try that out. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is I have been documenting some of the issues that I've had with video quality on this drone. Well, here in the western United States, we've got a lot of smoke in the air from the forest fires that are literally surrounding us here in Idaho. So it's a real hazy day today. So hopefully we won't have a lot of changes in lighting conditions, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to run this thing in with the white balance just in auto. We're going to shoot in 4K 30, not HDR. I'm just going to shoot in standard 4K 30. And then in addition to that, I've had people suggest that I use the H.264 codec instead of the H.265. So we'll look at the menu, we'll show how to change that stuff around, and we'll get this guy up in the air. And if we have enough battery left, we might take it out over the field that I was at the other day where I had some connection issues. But our main mission today is to look at these intelligent flight modes. Like I said, we'll do tracking, and then we're going to show the different kinds of tracking, and then we're also going to do for sure a circle mode or an orbit mode, and there's a couple different functions on this guy to do that. And then there's a spiral, and we may even try tap fly if we've got like I said, enough battery. So let's quit messing around, let's get this guy in the air. Okay, so we're connected here. We're still waiting for satellites, so let's take this opportunity to go in and take a look at the camera and get our settings right. For some reason, it always defaults to medium video quality. I always put that to high. And then we're on video, we're on 4K 30 frames per second. White balance is already on auto. We have the metering mode set to average. Thought it would try that this time. And then we're going to change the video to H.264. And we'll just see how that looks. It's just always interesting to try some different things and just to see what happens. So let's see. It looks like it says we're ready to go GPS. I am going to take a look at our drone status here, and everything is normal. Battery, gimbal, compass, so we're good to go there. Only 11 satellites, but I'm sure we'll get more as we get in the air. I am going to start recording right now. Recording has begun. It went well, we got 13 satellites, but it went back into VPU. Okay, we got GPS again, so we're going to hit takeoff on the controller here. And by the way, I always spread the props on the drone before I take off. I've noticed this guy likes that. And it'll go up about 4 meters high here. And we'll let it take a good look there for a minute. Take a look at its landing site, because we'll probably we'll try a precision landing when we get done here. So let's spin the drone around and bring it back down, and we'll bring it in for a quick look here. Very, very stable. It's doing very well here. So we're going to bank it back and forth, and you can see that gimbal in action there. So that worked out very well. So let's do it up in our usual up and away shot here. So reverse and up now, reverse and up. Drop the gimbal down just a little. And I can see on the app that we're a little bit crooked on the horizon. Yeah, it's still just a little crooked. Let's drop the gimbal down just a little. I just tell you, you know, you can take a look at that, and of course we banked the drone back and forth at the start, but there again, that's just unacceptable. So I'm going to yaw a little bit and see if that'll straighten out that horizon. And it did. Look at that, we got it straightened out a little bit. Yeah, so we're looking pretty good. So let's bring it back to us, and we'll go ahead and start with some intelligent flight modes here. So we're coming in and down. Okay, I am going to grab the camera here real quick and take it with us. Maybe we can get a little bit of video of the drone in the air. Okay, let's back it up out into the field here a little. I'm trying to get some headroom here so we can do some of those intelligent flight modes. One thing that I want to warn you about this drone is you absolutely want to be away from structures and things, because it has zero obstacle avoidance. So it does not know that there's anything around it. So when you're in these intelligent flight modes, it could be quite easy to run into something. So looks like we got the mower coming my way, so I don't know if we should head to a different part of the park here. Yeah, it never fails. I'm gonna walk to a different part of the park here, folks. So we're backing up the drone. I hate to get that far away from my base there, but we're gonna do it. That way we're kind of away from this guy. You know, it never fails. He was clear on the other side of the park when we started, and then as soon as I get ready to walk out, I mean, I'm sure it's just incidental, but never fails. Okay. So in order to do tracking, we're going to click on the little Android looking guy in the bottom left corner. Smart Track. I always forget what they call it. Everybody has a different name, and it even says beta, you'll notice on there. So we're going to click on Smart Track and trace. What trace will do is simply follow us. So we got to just draw a box around ourselves, around the target, which in this case is going to be me. Then we're going to click go. Maybe. Flight height is too low, it's telling me. Okay, so we're going to go up a little higher. Let's see how high we are here. Well, I don't have telemetry here to see, but hopefully that's high enough. Okay, we got our telemetry back, and it's got us. And so you must have to be over 10 meters high. So that's what I'm going to say there. Okay, so I'm going to walk back this way, and the drone should follow me, because that's what trace does. Is it literally follows you, and it is. So we also should be able to push the drone backwards, and you have to enable that in the app, and it is. As I walk forward, the drone is moving back. So that's pretty simple, and it does a pretty good job of it. Pretty easy to do there. So we've proven that one. I wonder if I can change it on the fly. I'm going to click on trace here and see if I can. No, you can't do it. So we're going to get out of Smart Track there, and we're going to start all over. So we're going to go into Smart Track again, and this time we're going to click Profile, and in this case it should follow us from the side. So I'm going to walk the other direction, deeper into the park here. Sorry about all that stuff coming up on my phone. It's got me. So in this case it'll track us from the side, and that didn't work. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Okay, we're going to go back in there. We are going to click on Profile, and it should get us from a side perspective. So let's try that again. It'll be a little more precise, and I'm going to walk towards the drone. And then go sideways. And it is following me now. So we are in trace mode now. And why it didn't work that last time, I can't tell you, but let's go the other way. Let me see if I can walk away from it somewhat. And again, it's following me perfectly from the side. And also note that you have to be at least 10 meters high. We're about 11 meters high here. Whoops, it lost us there. So they do say this is beta. So, you know, that one was kind of hit or miss. I've had it work better other times. So we're gonna get out of that, and we're gonna show you the final mode in Smart Track, which is lock. And lock is interesting. So think of lock, well, it does a couple of things. It will orbit you as you move, make you a point of interest. In addition to that, it can act as a cameraman. So you can just leave it in one spot there, and you can see at the bottom we have it set at 0, so it's not going to move. But as I walk around the drone, it will keep the it'll keep the camera on me. Well, sort of. I walked right out from under it there, didn't I? So I don't know what confused it there, but something sure did. Let's try a little different. Let's get out of that. Let's try it one more time. So we're going to go back in there, Smart Track, lock, and I am going to move it away a little bit. Excuse me, I lowered it there. So I'm going to move it a little bit further away. Let's pick up the gimbal just here a little bit. And I don't know if I might be too small this time. Nope. So let's see if it will stay on me. Nah, it lost me immediately that time. So yeah. The AI needs a little help, I'd say. Okay, let me show you one more thing. So that didn't work very well, but I do know that it should be able to orbit a point of interest. So let's try that one more time. We're going back into lock. Okay, go, and then we are going to slide the slider here, maybe. There we go. And it'll do an orbit around us. So why it didn't keep do the cameraman and keep the camera on me before, I really don't know. You would think that would be a lot simpler than this orbit. So let's try something. Let's see if we can walk. I'm gonna walk fairly slowly and see if the orbit will stay with me. We may, you know, I can see the boxes getting smaller as it moves behind me, so we'll see. Well, it's keeping up, so that's encouraging. So it seems to me that it works better if the drone is moving. So essentially, in that lock mode, you can have it track you and orbit you at the same time. Okay, we've seen enough of that. Let's get out of there. So we kind of had mixed results with that, but overall it worked okay. So let's go in and let's try some of the other intelligent flight modes that we talked about. Let's do an orbit, and there's a couple of things that you can do with an orbit. So to set the center, so where it's at right now, it's going to consider that the center. But what I can do is I can draw a box around myself. So I'm going to set center, and then it needs a radius. So we'll back it off just a little bit. I can't remember how much of a radius it needs at minimum, but I don't want to get too carried away. And I'm going to see if I can set myself. Yeah, I wasn't able to do that. I was trying to set myself as the point of interest. So it'll start, as you can see here, it'll start doing a circle around where it started there. And I had it in free mode, so it's going to keep the camera pointed the same direction that it started with. If I'd have selected center, it would have stayed on the center. So let's stop right there. Okay, let's try another version of that. So the point of it is, there you can set, I guess you don't draw a box around your point of interest. You simply look at your point of interest, and it will keep the camera pointed in that direction. So let's try that one more time, and how you can set go over the top of a point of interest and have it orbit from there and stay on center. So we are going to move it right over the top of us here. And notice it gives you a little target there. I'm going to call that good enough. Maybe a little more. There we go. So we're going to set, maybe. Look at that, setting center right there. And then radius, let's back it off. And like I said, there again, I don't want to get too carried away, because I don't want to hit any buildings. This drone has no obstacle avoidance. So I'm going to set center, and then right here I can select clockwise or counterclockwise, and I can select the speed. If I select center, it will keep the camera pointed at the center of the orbit. So let's speed it up pretty quick here. Let's crank this baby on a little bit. 4.6 meters per second. We've got it going clockwise, and we're going to click OK, and it'll take it a second to take the command, and then there it goes. And so it'll keep me in the center there. So there you can see the drone moving around us. So those are the different ways you can do an orbit with this guy. That free thing is kind of handy, because you could keep it pointed at you know, something else if you wanted to, while it orbits, not at the center of the orbit. although I'd say 9 times out of 10 that's going to be what you want to do. Okay, we're going to get out of that. And wow, we're using up some battery. We're down to 45% battery here. So let's bring it in a little bit. And down a little. And let's try a spiral. Spiral is always fun. One of my favorites. Some drones call it a corkscrew. Something, you know, everybody's got a different name for it. So spiral, and it's kind of a similar deal. You're going to set the center, and then the drone will raise an altitude and rotate away from you while moving away from you as well. So we're gonna bring it over the top of us here. That's roughly over the top of me, and I'm gonna set center, maybe setting center, and then we're gonna move our distance. So we're gonna back it off again. Drop the gimbal down here just a little. Put myself in the center there, and then next. And again, you can select clockwise or counterclockwise, and we can adjust the radius. So let's click the radius out there a ways. I want to make sure we don't hit any buildings or anything here, so let's take it down to about 26 meters. And what it'll do is it will raise in height and literally corkscrew above us. So click OK, and again, it'll take it a second to take the command, and then it begins. And again, that's something else I want to caution you about when you're doing these kind of maneuvers. Know where you're at, because again, this guy has no obstacle avoidance. It will run right into the side of a tree or a building or whatever if you're not watching what it's doing. And here you can see it's raising and slowly moving away from us. Kind of a cool effect. I mean, I think, you know, if you were aimed at a spire of a building or something like that, that's kind of a handy little tool to have. So very good. So that's the end of it, and spiral mission is completed, and it stopped recording. I'm going to start recording again, and let's go back to our home base here by the landing pad. Pick up the gimbal. Okay, I'm back at my home base here. Let's spin the drone around and drop it down. Well, in fact, you know what I think we should do? Like I said, we're down to about 30% battery. Maybe we can get out in the field over here before we get too low on battery. Get some altitude. Let's get this baby up about 60 meters. And I'm going to go in and throw it into sport mode so we can get some speed. And let's see if we can go across into the field over there, make sure we miss any cars. There, we got an opening. And we're gonna hit emergency return to home here in a second because of battery. Yeah, so it's giving us that low battery warning, but we're not that far away here. So let's see if we can get to that 450 meter mark that gave us problems the other day. Should be able to. Yeah, we're out at 500 meters now. So isn't this interesting? We're not having that issue. Got a little bit of breakup at FPV there. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, we lost it. So yeah, we lost control, and now it came back. So that's interesting. We got a little ways, so it'll come back to us now. It's in fail-safe return, so we're just going to let it do that. and I'm holding the controller with the antenna pointed exactly towards it. So, you know, there just must be enough interference here that it causes a problem. But it was interesting, the Mavic Mini is just a little Wi-Fi drone, and I didn't have those same kind of problems. So it's coming back to us. It's over the park now, so we're down to 23% battery. We'll just let it land here, and we'll see how close we get to a precision landing. And look at that crooked horizon. Holy guacamole. Yeah, that horizon issue is enough to drive you batty. I've got the original, the 2018 Fimi X8 SE. It had that problem the whole time I owned it. And I think, I got that one in May of 2019. And now this one is no better. I just don't know why. Landing pad detected, so let's get out of the way and let's let this baby land. Let's drop the gimbal down so we can kind of see where we're going. Remind me to pick that thing up before we land, because yeah, it's we may have to stop here. Yep. Yeah, it was going to come down kind of right on top of me here, so that's not going to work. Let's see if we can get it over the pad here. That's pretty close. What do you think? Boy, it's hard to get it exact. Okay, gang. Get it looking at us here. And look at how crooked that gimbal is. Landing pad not detected. Low battery, please land. And it's wanting to land on its own, and I saw it's landing by itself here, because it's saying, well, landing pad detected. So look at that, it found the pad. So that was interesting. At the very last minute there, you know, I was messing around with it, flying it around, and it found the pad, and that is at 14% battery. One of the good things, again, I'll say about this drone is it does stop recording once it lands. So let me pick the drone up, let me get everything shut down, and we'll do a quick conclusion. So I just thought I'd kind of show you if the drone is still on, I just wanted to show you the gimbal, how it works and how it keeps that camera straight. Now, why we get a little bit crooked when it's in the air, I don't know, but in any case, yeah, let me get it shut down. Okay, the Fimi X8 SE. You know, I like this drone. Oh, we got a few grass stains on the props there, because the rear props kind of went down in the grass. It landed kind of on the edge of the landing pad there, so we'll clean the grass stains off of those props. But it essentially did what it was supposed to do today, although it was pretty clear we still had a tilted horizon. And you know, that's something that you can correct in post-production, but why should you have to? You know, most drones of this caliber do not have those kind of issues. So I'm not exactly sure what that's all about, but I really wish Fimi would get that figured out. And then the intelligent flight modes all worked pretty much as they should. We had a couple little issues. The profile mode at first, as I was walking away, you saw the square get bigger. But then we tried it again the second time. I walked towards it first and then turned sideways, and that seemed to help it, and it worked. And we turned around and went the other way, and it followed us just fine. In trace mode, it works really good. Now, lock mode, the only thing I was disappointed in there, in theory, in lock mode, you should be able to just leave the drone up there in a hover, and it should just keep you in center of frame. So, you know, and just, you know, say for instance you were doing something and you wanted to keep the drone looking at you, that would be handy, and a lot of drones have that feature. We didn't get it to work. Now, when we went in lock mode and we put the drone in an orbit, hey, it worked great. So I don't know if it needs movement or something that maybe helps the AI in there to do it, but it even, as I was walking, it even followed us in that orbit. So that was pretty cool and worked pretty good. Now, to be fair, I always want to emphasize that Fimi, right in the app, their smart track, they call it a beta. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. In other words, they're telling you this isn't a fully finished application. So, but then we did an orbit, and I misunderstood. When you set the orbit to free, it said you could select a point of interest. By that, I thought they meant you would draw a square around something. That's not the case. What you have to do is point the drone at whatever your point of interest is, and when you set it in free and set that orbit, it will just keep the camera pointed that direction at whatever you had it originally pointed at. But then the other thing you can do is set it to center, and when you select center, it will keep the camera pointed to the center of the orbit. And then we also did a spiral, is what they call it. Helix is what DJI calls it. These guys call it a spiral, and it worked pretty good. It kind of got off a little bit on the spiral, but it does work. Hey guys, I'm cutting in here real quick. I had a chance to look at the video that came off of the SD card from this flight, and it looks pretty darn good. So can't beat that. I'm happy with that. I'm wondering if that H.264 codec might be the secret. All right, see ya. Anyway, I guess that's about it. I'm anxious to take a look at the video quality when we get home. Like I said, we use the H.264 codec. We put it in the white balance in auto, 4K 30 frames per second, not in HDR, and we do have hazy conditions today, so we'll see how it looks. Hopefully we'll get some good video out of it. So I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really do appreciate you taking the time to look at this video and the Fimi X8 SE 2020. And we will see you on the next one. Bye now.